Good evening. I'm Steve from UCAN English Tutoring. I wish you all a very happy new year, and I hope this year brings success to all your goals, including the ones you have got for OET, IELTS, and PT academic examinations. To help you guys out prepare well for your examination and pass your exams in your first attempt itself, I'm introducing two new membership programs in addition to the existing ones. There is a diamond membership program which is going to be charged only at about $79.99 per month, which is going to be approximately 4,200 to 4,500 Indian rupees, with which you will be able to access all the live session videos on my YouTube channel. I mean, you will be able to receive the step-by-step strategies, for reading, listening, writing, and speaking subtests of OET, IELTS, and PT academic examinations with just $79.99. You should be able to smash your OET examination in your first attempt itself. The good thing about this membership program is that you can access all my sessions whenever and wherever you want. So you can watch those sessions, you can make notes as well, and then you should be able to pass your OET, IELTS, and PT academic examination in your first attempt itself. If you wish to get more benefits from me, you can also become a platinum member, which is going to be charged at $149.99 per month, which is going to be approximately 8,000 to 8,500 Indian rupees. This gives you access to all the live videos. Plus, I'm going to provide you the assessment of 3 speaking and 3 writing mock tests as well. When you become a diamond or a platinum member, you will be able to see all the videos that are going to be recorded in my classroom so that you can get the maximum benefits out of these things. Well, connectors in OET Writing Subtest are going to help greatly in order to get the information conveyed in an effective manner. Okay, so connecting phrases or linking phrases, or shortly known as connectors, are going to enhance the communication skills as far as the writing subtest is concerned. You can convey the information in the written form of English, and you can ensure that the readers accurately understand what meaning we are intending to share with them. Okay, this is the purpose. This is why we are writing. Okay, isn't it? So use of connectors in writing subtest of the OET examination can be tricky, because if you misuse them, all right, if you pick up the inappropriate connectors and if you use them in a particular sentence, for example, which is not appropriate, it's not good, because they can damage your score. Remember that. So the connectors are like your friends when you use them appropriately, when you actually treat them with the respect. But if you misuse them, they will become your enemy. You know what I mean? So they can damage your score. So it is you who needs to decide how you're going to use it. Are you going to use them with due respect so that they can help you to boost your confidence levels as well as score? Or do you want to use them inappropriately so that they can decrease your score in OET writing subtest? So it's up to you. So knowing the difference between the appropriate and the inappropriate use of connectors is critical. Okay, you need to know what kinds of connectors are appropriate to be used in the OET healthcare letter scenario and what should not be. Okay, right. So you may ask me these questions: why do I need to use connectors in OET letters? What are the purposes why I need to use them? Well, there are 4 main purposes due to which we need to use the connectors in OET letter. Is that clear with everyone? So there are 4 main purposes. Okay, the first thing is we need to provide emphasis on a particular information presented in the main idea, a particular information. For example, let's say clearly, noticeably, significantly, notably, considerably, remarkably, particularly. So these kinds of adverbs can enhance the emphasis of information. Okay, so they are going to be of great help. If you want to use these adverbs, they can help you out. Okay, they can definitely improve your effectiveness in terms of writing. So one is to stress the information. We wanted to say, for example, it is significant to note that. Okay, so that's how we say, isn't it? Significant means you are stressing the information over there. All right, so you can mention that. Okay, for example, the baby's weight has been reduced significantly. Okay, in that case, we are trying to provide more stress on this weight. The baby's weight has been reduced significantly over the past 2 weeks, for example. Okay, so there is an urgency, okay, that needs to be addressed, and that's how we use this. Okay, is this clear with everyone? The next one is to state the timelines of the events more clearly. For example, we might have been using this subsequently means there is a cause which occurred previously. For example, let's say the patient's hemoglobin level was dropped significantly post-operatively. I mean, after surgery. Subsequently, okay, 3 units of red blood cells were transfused. For example, in this case, subsequently means it is telling the order of the events, isn't it? So firstly, there was a drop of hemoglobin levels, and then after that they started transfusing the blood, isn't it? So it is telling the order of the events based on the timelines. Okay, sometimes you can also use finally, for example, okay, or lastly, okay, or accordingly. What is in the accordingly? You mentioned something in the beginning and then you say accordingly something else was initiated. For example, you can also use then, for example, okay, then, all right, after that. Okay, so that's what we need to use. Okay, is this clear with everyone? So the second thing is based on the timelines. All right, that's we need to use the connecting phrases to convey the order of the events based on the timeline. Okay, that is the second purpose why we use the connectors. Is this clear with everyone? The third one is to demonstrate the difference between two ideas or sentences. For example, let's go through these things. Okay, let's say he is progressing well. However, he requires assistance with his daily living activities. Here we need to demonstrate the difference between those two things, right? He is progressing well. That's the first sentence. That's the first idea. And then he requires assistance with the daily living activities. These two things are actually contrast in nature, isn't it? They are contradicting in nature. Am I right? They are not the same thing. No way. So you have to use however. If there are two things that are going to be opposite in nature, we have to use these kinds of phrases. However, nevertheless, nonetheless, conversely, despite, in spite of, although, and so on. Is that clear with you? So you can use these kinds of phrases. The fourth and the last purpose is to illustrate the connection between a cause and an effect, or a problem and its solution. For example, let's say the patient's mobility has been declined rapidly. Therefore, a wheelie walker was arranged for him to move around. Okay, so this therefore, and then whatever you write down is the effect, or is a kind of solution. And then the patient's mobility has been declined is what? It is a cause, it is a problem, isn't it? So there is a cause before that, and then there is a effect, there is an effect, or there is a problem before that, and then there is a solution. Is that clear with everyone? For example, we can use this way. The patient's hemoglobin level has been dropped significantly. Okay, as a consequence, as a result, or consequently, 3 units of red blood cells were transfused. So in this case, the patient's hemoglobin level has been dropped, which is a problem. And then the solution is consequently, or as a consequence, or as a result, is a solution. So it is connecting the problem and the solution. Is that clear with everyone? So these 4 are the major reasons why we have to use the connecting phrases in our letter to convey the information in a more effective manner. Does anyone have any questions here?
No, sir.
All right, great. And the next thing is you can ask me, where can I use these connectors? Your questions may be relevant. Where can I use in a sentence? Where can I use? Well, by and large, which means in general, okay, generally speaking, connecting phrases are used to begin a new sentence. Okay, whenever you want to start a new sentence, usually we use a connecting phrase there, usually, okay? However, they can also be used in the middle of a sentence as well. So remember that there are two areas of a sentence where you can use the connecting phrases. Firstly, in the beginning of a sentence, and the other one is in the middle of a sentence. Let me give you these two examples to make you understand this concept easily. Look at this one. Considering the above, or given the above, or in light of the above situation, for example, or in light of the situation, comma, could you please arrange an appointment with an eye doctor in 2 weeks time for Mrs. James routine eye checkup, for example. Okay, so this is an example. So if you look at this one, considering the above, or given the above, or in light of the situation, or in view of the situation, or socially, or medically, or additionally, in addition, all those kinds of phrases, if you write them down in the beginning of a sentence, they are going to be of great help to add the ideas, isn't it? Add the sentences, and these can be used in the beginning of a sentence. All right, but there are some phrases that can be used in the middle as well. So you can use the connecting phrases both in the beginning of a sentence as well as in the middle. Is that clear with everyone? Okay, in the middle, look at this one. Mrs. James' mobility has been declined over the last few months, and therefore, and as a result, and as a consequence, okay, comma, assistance with their daily living activities has been initiated. Okay, so what is this? So this is the cause or a problem, we can say so, isn't it? Do you remember that the one above? I told you, like, the fourth purpose was cause and effect, or problem and solution. So this is a problem because her mobility has been declined over the last few months, and then this is the solution, and therefore, and as a result, and as a consequence, this assistance in the daily living activities has been initiated. So that's going to be a solution. So that can also be used. So in that case, we have initially used, okay, we have used the connecting phrase in the beginning, and then we have also used the connecting phrases in the middle of a sentence. Is this clear with everyone?
Yes, sir.
So there may be another question. So how do I select the right connectors? How can I identify whether I'm using the appropriate connecting phrases or the inappropriate ones? How can I confirm them? How can I understand that? That's the next question, isn't it? Remember that OET healthcare letters are different from the IELTS letters, or IELTS essays or reports and so on. They are different. They are different from this. Okay, so you need to understand one thing, that OET healthcare letters need to be written down using the formal language only. So it is critical to select the most appropriate linking phrases to ensure the right tone is achieved and the purpose is clearly stated to the recipient of the letter. What happens if you can use inappropriate connecting phrases? It may be rude, okay? It may be offensive, all right? And that's not good for the reader. From the reader's perspective, you are going to politely show your request. You are going to politely request them. It's a kind request from you to the recipient, so that the recipient can provide the patient-centered care without compromising the quality and the safety. Is that clear with everyone? So you need to show politeness throughout the letter. It's very important. So there are some connectors which are not polite, which are impolite. They cannot convey the meaning effectively as we need or as we intend. Okay, so although there are many connectors that can convey the same meaning, only some of them are appropriate for the OET writing criteria. Unfortunately, knowing which connectors are acceptable and which ones are not can give many candidates hard times, making their writing a nightmare. Okay, sometimes they may spend a lot of time on choosing the right connectors, isn't it? Sometimes they may erase them again and again. They may think about another connectors and so on, and that's not good. So remember that one of the key reasons Have you ever wondered why why some people are able to achieve 350 or 300 plus, and why others are not able to get their design scores, why they fail by maybe 20 marks or 10 marks? Do you know what I mean? Why? What would be the reason between a winner and the loser in the writing subtest? One of the possible reasons is that the winner might have been selecting the right connectors and placing them appropriately, and the other person might have been using them incorrectly in their OET letter. Okay, which means the first person was able to reflect the formal tone of the language throughout the letter, whereas the other person is demonstrating only the informal tone. I mean, the second person is unable to showcase the respect towards the recipient, and that's not good. That is not acceptable at all. Is that clear with everyone? So you need to ensure that you maintain the respect to the recipient. Okay, the next thing is, how can we classify the connectors in OET writing subtest? Okay, let's say there are two different kinds of connectors. Okay, in in the broader area, in the broader category, we can say there are two different kinds of connectors. Okay, one is simple connectors and the other is complex connectors. Okay, there are two different kinds of connectors. All right, as far as the OET writing is concerned. The simple connectors are usually the ones used to link two simple sentences together to form a compound sentence in English. Okay, they are the ones which are usually used to link two sentences together. They are also known as conjunctions. Yes, for example, as, but, because, are, to, later, and these words are the ones which can connect them together. So they can actually combine two sentences together. All right, so for example, let's say okay, we can say, for example, as Mrs. James has been suffering from maybe blah blah blah, she has been taking blah blah blah. Okay, for example, so as is what, as can be written down in the middle as well. Okay, all right, so you can say, for example, Mrs. James has been admitted as she has been suffering from blah blah blah. Okay, that can link two sentences together in between. Okay, so that's going to be the simple connectors. They connect two simple sentences together. That's it. All right, the complex connectors are the ones which are used to form the complex sentence structures. For example, we can say he is progressing well, however he requires assistance with the daily living activities. And then you can also use therefore. So these are the connecting phrases that are usually used in the complex sentences. For example, although he has been progressing well, comma, he requires assistance with the daily living activities. In this case, although is going to act as a complex connector, but it is connecting within one sentence only. Is that clear with everyone? So the connectors can connect within one sentence or between two sentences. Is that clear with everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. All right, let's go through this. What kinds of connectors can be used? Okay, that's going to be a tricky question, to answer. What kinds of connectors? Because remember that writing an OET letter is not an innate skills. It's not an inborn talent. It has nothing to do with that. Anyone can develop the writing skills, isn't it? It's not that difficult. Using the inappropriate connectors do not make sense in a sentence. It is as harmful as not using the connectors at all. If you don't write any connectors, you feel like you may commit mistakes when you use the connectors in your letter. So what you're doing is you're not at all using any connectors. Is that going to be harmful? Of course, it is going to create equal harm on your score as that of using many connectors unnecessarily. So both of them are going to lead to severe consequences on your score for the writing subtest. Okay, so one way to avoid, so how do I avoid it? It is to think whether you can remove this connector from the sentence and it conveys exactly the same meaning. So if the sentences are logically connected, okay, then you need it. If you feel like without using this connecting phrase you can't logically connect the sentences, then that's not good. You have to use the connecting sentence. Okay, so it means if two sentences are logically connected can only be connected using a connecting phrase, you have to use it. If you feel like these two sentences do not need any connecting phrase, you don't need to include them. Okay, so students have freedom to use both the simple as well as the complex connectors in their letters. However, they need to give good meaning to the sentences. If you use the simple sentences or the complex sentences, that's fine, but they need to give good meaning. If they don't add value to the sentence, please do not write it. It's very simple. All right. So the assessment criteria of the OET letter includes the use of a wide variety of formal words and the ability to meet the professional, precise, and direct context, enabling the reader to understand the information. As a result, selection of the most suitable language that fits the bill cannot be emphasized enough, which means you have to pick up only the right connecting phrase. It is critical. All right. Okay, you may ask me, how can you start a sentence with a connector? What kinds of connectors can be used and so on? Remember that there is a new recommendation from the official OET website where they have mentioned that we should not use some simple connectors such as also, so, and but. Okay. However, they can be included in the middle of a sentence. You can use them in the middle of a sentence. That is absolutely fine. It is strongly advised to use more formal phrases such as additionally, therefore, and however to start your sentence. It's better to start using these kinds of phrases. In addition is also acceptable. So in addition, therefore, additionally, as a result, however. So these kinds of phrases can be used. All right. Is that clear with everyone?
Yes.
Okay. What connectors you should avoid? What connectors you should avoid? That's the next question. Note, writing an IELTS and PTE essay or IELTS academic report or an IELTS letter is absolutely different from drafting a letter to another healthcare staff. One key mistake many students commit is that they use the same kinds of connectors as they learned from their schooling or university or other examinations. Unfortunately, they are less likely suitable for the OET scenario. Okay. Let's go through these things. So there are three types of connectors that need to be avoided. They are, less appropriate. In other words, you may use some of these connectors less frequently. If you're running out of formal connectors, you can use maybe one or two informal connectors only. I mean, you have to keep the use of informal connectors, to the minimum level. Please avoid them 100%. If you can't, at least if you want to, if you are running out of time or if you're running out of a connector, it's okay. You can use maybe one informal connector, for example. Okay. So the academic connectors such as furthermore and moreover need to be avoided. Please do not use these phrases, please. Okay. These things are not acceptable as far as the OET letter is concerned. Okay. So the informal connectors, for example, besides, meanwhile, apart from that, and later on are not accepted as well, according to the new suggestions made in the OET official website. Please avoid these things as well. Okay. And there are some outdated connectors as well. For example, hence and thus also need to be avoided. Is this clear with everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
The next question you may ask me would be how many connectors you can use in an OET letter in order to get the highest score. There is no such thing like you got to use minimum these many connectors, in order to get the, the maximum score under connectivity. It is not the case. So the number of connectors you use in your letter wouldn't have a direct relationship with your score, but how accurately you use them to help make your sentences clear, accurate, and connect your ideas together with the suitable selection of the words, that does matter. Okay, that's gonna make a huge impact. I mean, if you use a connecting phrase, do you think it can convey the information in a better and an effective manner? If you think so, if your answer is yes, then use it. If you feel that it's not gonna add any value to the meaning, then don't use it. It's very simple. Okay, so that's what I would like to tell you. The bottom line here is that you should use connectors only when required. Okay, in other words, if they don't add any value to the sentence, please do not use them. All right, if the connectors are going to be used correctly, they can lift your score straight away. However, if they are used inappropriately, they can drag your scores down dramatically as well. So you need to remember both of them. Okay, is that clear with everyone? So please use them appropriately. How can you find if a connector is required in a sentence or not? It's very simple. You remove a connector. Please remove a connector from a sentence first and see if the sentence still makes sense. If so, this connector is unnecessary for the sentence. So avoid this in your OET letter. For example, let's go through this. Instead of writing down in view of the above or given the above or in view of the situation, Mrs. Robert will require to see a dentist in 3 days' time. You can write Mrs. Robert will require to see a dentist in 3 days' time. This is more than enough. Is this clear with everyone? You don't need to mention in view of the above. It's not going to add any value in this case. You can just straight away use this particular sentence. Okay. You need to familiarize yourself with the writing subtest assessment criteria in order to know exactly how you're going to get your letter assessed by the assessors. Okay. So there are some better ways of using it. Okay. For example, look at this one. Mrs. Smith was admitted to hospital because she fell down the stairs at her home. Here, instead of writing down because she fell down, you can use due to a fall down the stairs at home. All right, due to a fall. Okay, I mean, because it's acceptable, but there is a different way of writing. I mean, you should have a wide variety of what you can say words to link the sentences together. And in this case, look at this one. Mr. X has been diagnosed with the hypertension. Hence, he has been prescribed metformin 500 mg daily. So instead of that, you can say like this: Mr. X has been diagnosed with the hypertension. Therefore, he has been prescribed metformin 500 mg daily. All right. So these are the ways to link them together. See this one. On review today, his blood pressure was slightly elevated. Apart from that, his other vital signs were normal. So on review today, his blood pressure was slightly elevated. Otherwise, his other vital signs were normal. Okay. Okay. Mr. X was treated with the pain relief and discharged home. Later on, he was readmitted to hospital complaining of a severe headache and nausea. Okay. So instead of that, you can write like this: Mr. X was treated with the pain relief and discharged home. Subsequently, he was readmitted to hospital complaining of a severe headache and nausea. Okay. He requires a wheelie walker for support as well as this. Please provide daily visits from a home care nurse. So he requires a wheelie walker for support. In addition, please provide daily visits from a home care nurse. All right. Okay, the next one is, am I allowed to use since and as in my OET writing? You are. There is no restriction. According to the new one, there is no restriction. Previously, they said that as needs to be used minimally, but now it is all right. As long as you feel it is appropriate, you should be able to use them without any issues. Okay, but if there is a better way of writing that down, you have to use those phrases. Okay, for example, look at this one. Mrs. Thompson will require assistance with the personal care since she does not have full range of motion and shoulder in her shoulder yet. So you can write like this: Mrs. Thompson will require assistance with the personal care due to the limited range of movement in her shoulder. I mean, you can use less number of words and you can convey more information. That is very important in writing. So use less words, convey more information. Okay. And see this one. This one has got so many words, isn't it? She was brought to the hospital by ambulance as she fell off her bicycle in the street. Look at this one. She was brought to hospital by ambulance following a fall from her bicycle. That's it. So we have actually cut down at least 3 to 4 words, okay, which is good for us. So ensure you use less words and get more information conveyed. Is this clear with everyone?
So
So try to understand which phrases should not be used in the beginning of a sentence and which phrases can be used, and try to, avoid the use of more and more words. Try to convey the information using less number of words so that you can get more score. Okay, because the examiner would like to see whether you are able to interpret the information from the case notes instead of simply copying and pasting them here. Is that clear with everyone? And that is the reason we have to use the summary, we have to use a range of words, we have to use the synonyms and blah blah blah. So those things can help a lot.